wonderful afternoon and awesome evening. This is Carla from Rehan, Allahwala's World of Connections. And today I'm here to talk to my friend Samir Gupta, also a friend of Rehan's. And Samir is going to be going from India to Pakistan. And he's concerned about it. I would be concerned too with all the friction between the two countries. But we're going to find out what he's thinking and why he is going. I know he's been there in the past and he loved Pakistan, and I hope you don't mind that I said that. And let's get to know Samir a little better. And like always, this show is sponsored by Rehan Allahwala's Institute of Peace, where we promote peace one conversation at a time. Samir, please introduce yourself.
So my name is Samir Gupta. I'm 50 years old, and I've been involved in peace in South Asia for the last 10 years. And I'm really excited to go to Pakistan.
Samir, can I ask you to speak a little slower and a little louder so you're
Sure.
very clear? Thank
Yep.
you.
So I'm Samir Gupta. I'm 50 years old. I'm a businessman. I've been involved in peace activities in South Asia for the last 10 years. And I'm really looking forward to visiting my friends in Pakistan over the next month or so.
And why are you deciding to go to Pakistan?
Um, I just every time I go to Pakistan, there is a there's a lot of love I get from people, and I'm not just talking about my friends, or people on the streets, and it's almost like it's a very warm hug that you receive when you travel to Pakistan as an Indian. And I just love to have that experience once again. Just go there, meet people, walk around the streets, uh, talk to uh, the auto drivers, or just go to a place and just talk to the people on the street.
And what do you talk to them about? What is this motivation? Because I know that you must have heard in India, you don't go to Pakistan. But I am so proud to know someone who just does looks through those, I shouldn't say silly boundaries, but the silly boundaries we put in our minds and sees the people and
Sure.
sees life for what it really is.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, Carla. I don't know if you know how many Bollywood movies you've followed, but there are these movies in which there's a fight in the senior generation. Like the grandparents had a big fight, and then they banish the rest of the family from ever meeting the other side. And then two generation later, people meet, and then they fall in love, and suddenly the seniors aren't very happy about it. I think that's what happened between India and Pakistan. About 80 years ago, some people, none of whom are alive today, had some political differences, right? They couldn't see eye to eye on some important political issues. And they decided that it was best for the country to be partitioned, right? And then we've spent the next 75 years feeding the poison of hate to the coming generations. And it's when people actually meet, and most of us don't meet physically, but even when we meet on social media, we discover that the differences are very superficial. That actually it's a real pleasure meeting people from the other country. And I don't know. I mean, I can't really comment on how the experience that Pakistanis have upon meeting Indians. But as an Indian, I have had some amazing experiences meeting Pakistanis. They've always been very warm, always been very loving, and as I said, going to Pakistan is one of the privileges. As an Indian, one of the it's one of the best kept secrets, really.
And what are some of the things that you really, really love about Pakistan that draws you back?
Sure. I'll give you two examples, Carla. And these are examples from the trips I made. In fact, the last trip I made. So as me and Parshu, my friend, we crossed the border, and on the other side, we were being driven to our friend's house. On the way, we stopped at a roadside vendor selling fruit juice, right? And our host asked this guy to really clean the, no, it's a roadside juice seller, right? So she said, look, just clean the thing well. And, we got friends come from India. And then I think about 50 yards away from us, there was another, fruit vendor who's selling guavas. And now this guy has a red beard, okay? Which is very, you see a lot of that. And then he overhears the conversation. And so he comes up to me and then, with a big smile, he says, are you from India? So I turned around, I said, yes. So this guy, he walks back to his cart and then, he takes a guava and he splits it into four and he applies some masala to it. And he comes up to me and with both his hands, he offers it to me and he said, this is a gift for you. And I was so moved by it. It's like, this is not, it's not like one of my friends, right? This is just a common guy, a vendor selling fruit. He's far removed from, all the politics. And yet, he was so happy to see somebody to come from India. And he expressed his love through that gift of a fruit. I think it's perhaps the most amazing gesture, I've ever had in my life. And if someone tells me, hate Pakistanis, it's the most stupid thing that they can say. Come and meet this guy. How can I hate this guy? I'm not connected with him. He has no reason to be connected with me. It is the most ignorant suggestion to hate Pakistanis. Pakistan is not a monolith. Yeah, I agree there are political differences, and our armies don't see eye to eye. Our governments don't see eye to eye. But when it comes to people, you'll be surprised. And I can give you more stories, but the point I'm trying to make is, there is no way I can ever hate people who are so loving and so warm and so welcoming, especially when they find out that you're from India. Just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me at all. I have been involved with meditation, and I may be giving away my age right now, since 1973. With no stops. I just keep on. And I've been involved with Art of Living since 1989. And the reason I'm telling you this is, if you know anything about Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, he talks about the world being one world family. In fact, I had a friend get very annoyed because I said, why is everything so private in Art of Living groups when the knowledge is for the whole world? and not just small circles. And when we're talking about these small circles, I get very confused because India and Pakistan and Bangladesh and even the United States, we are all one world families.
Yeah.
Why do we keep ourselves from accepting this tiny truth? I'd like your thoughts on that.
I think it's just politics, Carla. I'll tell you something. One of the primary motivations for human beings is fear, right? And it's easy to control people using fear. And how do I know Pakistan? I mean, when I was growing up, I used to hate Pakistan. Right? I
Why?
still, yeah, because that's what I'd heard. So I was told that it's a terrible place. I was told that it's a country that is out there to hurt India and will do anything to hurt India, and it was an implacable enemy of the country. How did I know that? Well, that's what I heard from people. That's what I heard from the media, right? That's what the governments told us because they need to control us. See, there is something called as FUD: fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Those are the three things that are needed to control people. It's very simple. And if, like you said, Vasudevai Kutumbakam, it's one of the fundamental tenets of Hinduism, which is the whole world is a family. So if they let people meet each other, then all that politics is gone. They no longer have control over people.
And all the work I've been doing in the past 5 years, probably even before, but specifically, has been to unite the world, to
Yeah.
unite people, having them speak, whether they speak in English off the show, I really don't care because you need to keep your culture going. So, how can we help people understand that there is a need to open up in the world?
I think what you do, makes a big difference because people get to meet each other, people from different countries. Ultimately, as I mean, this, Pablo Neruda, once said, he said, travel. Like when you travel is the worst enemy of ignorance, right? Meeting new people. You can travel virtually. You can, like what you do, create more events where people from different countries come together and discover that we are all essentially the same people. Um, I mean, like the work that you do and what Rehan does, it is so important. And Kala, I don't know, and you don't know, whether in our lifetime we will see this madness of hatred get removed. But we would have done enough work, if when the wall of hatred eventually does come down, you and I and Rehan, we would have played our part in bringing the wall down, because we are connecting people. We're making it possible for people to meet each other, even though it's virtual. The only thing that keeps hatred going is ignorance. That's the only bit that keeps hatred going. When people meet each other and they find out how similar they are, they stop hating. I hated Pakistanis. I hated Pakistan and Pakistanis. The only reason I did a 180-degree turn in my life is because I traveled and I met real Pakistanis.
And that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years.
Yeah, I know.
When I started this whole thing, right? This is a kind of funny story, but I'm going to tell you this, and Rehan knows I finally told him. I have to laugh even thinking about it. I had been hearing all about the destruction the Muslims bring to the world and how bad they are and how you can't trust a Muslim. And Rehan had kind of found me, and we had a Skype call, and I thought, he seems like a nice guy. What is this all about? And it took a few months. I didn't encourage the conversations, but when I'd hear from him, I'd always react and reply, and would have some conversation going on. And finally, on my birthday, that's when I say our relationship started, because he sent me a video message. Well, now I know he sends them to a lot of people, but at the time, it was to me. And it meant a lot, and it touched my heart, and our friendship started on that day. Well, I had friends who found that I was talking to a Muslim. And boy, did they get down on me. Don't talk to him. Get away from him. I even had a friend check him out and said, he seems all right. You can keep talking to him. Because by then I was kind of already biased. I wasn't about to listen. I wanted to hear what someone else had to say. And these two ladies were just totally scared for me. And I sent them his bio and everything. And they shut up. Finally, they shut up. But during this time, I was talking to someone who I knew was very loving, very caring, a little crazy, but so am I. But it was the beginning of something very new and a very new chapter in my life. India had already been a big chapter, and now this was a new chapter starting. And it was interesting especially when I began the English show, to get to know all the Muslims who showed up and said, oh, come to Pakistan. I want to take you to the movies, or I want to take you, show you our land, show you our street fairs. And I thought, how could anyone say there's anything wrong with these people?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you've experienced something similar in a different manner.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll tell you, Carla, how I first went to Pakistan. So I was actually traveling. I was, interestingly enough, I was in DC back in 2003, and this is in March of 2003. I gone to meet one of my friends he's a senior Pakistani journalist, and he introduced me to a couple of again senior Indian journalists, and as I was talking to them, they said, look, you don't really know Pakistanis. The only Pakistanis are the ones who are settled in the West. You've never really met a Pakistani, who lives in the country. They absolutely hate you. And I said, how do you know? He said, well, I've been doing this coverage for many years, and the proverbial man on the street in Pakistan absolutely hates Indians. And I wanted to say to him that he was talking nonsense, but then I didn't have the real data. So I decided that I will go and visit Pakistan. Over the next 2 years, as I spoke to my mother about it a few times, and I said, look, I want to go and visit Pakistan. And she said, you're out of your mind. What if somebody picks you up? Why would you go to Pakistan? That's so stupid. And I'm like, why not? And she's saying, no, you can't go to Pakistan. It makes zero sense, and you'll get hurt. And then I spoke to a couple of friends, And then those friends said the same thing to me. They said, no, you can't go to Pakistan. Why would you do that? You can get hurt. What if somebody found out you're from India and stabbed you on the street? And I'm like, no, why will they stab me on the street? Because you don't know them. They absolutely hate Indians. And so it took me about 2 years and 3 months from the day I first spoke to these guys to, and then I manipulated my mother, because she wouldn't let me go. And I said, look, I'm going there for business. This is a really important business trip. And I had to lie to her. She wouldn't let me go. And then I finally went, and I went to Lahore, and I spent 4 days in Lahore, and I had a great time. And the people I met were really nice to me. And I remember. So this was the second incident, Carla. And this was my first trip in 2015. I was actually trying to find, like one of those tuk-tuks, the three-wheel autos, to go to this place called Model Town. And so I saw, I didn't know how to find one, so, or what to pay him. So I saw this policeman standing on the side of the road, and it was a bit scary because I police people, especially in the subcontinent, you don't befriend them, you stay away from them. But since I was one of those brave people, I actually went up to him and I said, look, I'm trying to find an auto to go to Model Town. Can you please help me? And then he asked me, he said, are you from Karachi? And I said, no, I'm from Delhi. Also, he said, okay, your accent is very similar. So apparently Delhiites and Karachiites, they have very similar accent, which I didn't know at that time. I didn't know at the time. So I said, okay. And then as soon as he found out I was from India, he was like, oh, wow, you're from India. Okay. And then he flagged this auto guy down. And then, he told him, don't overcharge him, charge him only 80 rupees. And then he takes a piece of paper out and writes down his phone number. And he says, look, in the next 3 days, you're in Pakistan. If you need absolutely anything, just feel free, give me a call and I'll sort out whatever needs to be sorted out. And I was really, it was so strange because, police people, they're supposed to be the sort of scary dudes, that you don't talk to. And this guy was so nice, when he found out I was from India. And I was clear that time that, like this is all ignorance, that people didn't really. And the second thing, Carla, that I found very different was, in movies in India or even in Hollywood, they would show Pakistan with a lot of these veiled women, women wearing the burqa. And nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, in those 4 days that I was in Lahore, I probably didn't see 4 women wearing burqa. Women didn't wear burqa in Lahore. Maybe in Afghanistan they do, but not in Karachi and not in Lahore. It's, these are modern cities with very nice modern restaurants and, nice places to go to. One of my favorite restaurants in the world is in Karachi. There's a place called Kolachi. Absolutely fabulous restaurant. And as I said, the second time I went, I was so clear that whoever tells you that Pakistan is unsafe or that, people don't like you, they don't know what they're talking about.
So how can we begin educating people on this? I mean, I'm really feeling very passionate about doing that these days because it's not true. It's not true. I mean, someone got annoyed with me because I said, why aren't people sharing their knowledge instead of keeping it in small groups? It's not only you, it's everyone.
Yeah.
How can we get people to get out of their little boxed in comfort zone and move outside and see, oh, everyone really wants love. Everyone really wants to be liked. Everyone wants abundance. There's no one who doesn't want these things. So why are we so scared?
I don't know. I think more shows like these, more conversations like these. We need to get the word out.
So how can we do it? We do still have those meetups. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yes, I haven't actually, and it's because Sundays are usually bad for me these days. I'm busy on Sunday evenings, but yeah, I mean, I could talk to you, and we could maybe, I could participate in the meetups again. Maybe if they were not on Sundays, on a different day. But yeah, definitely.
Please, I can't change it. But that's why I want you guys there. That's why we created those. And I have never stopped doing it
Yeah,
because we want people to begin to realize, what are you scared of?
yeah. Who are you
What
scared of?
is creating all this fear and all this worry about, I am not going to talk to a Pakistani, or I'm not going to talk to an Indian? And I'm like, they're people. They put on their clothes, their pants, one leg at a time,
Yeah,
believe it or not, and they walk on 2 feet.
yeah. I agree, Carla. I think I miss being on those shows. Maybe I'll get back. Okay.
So, how can we improve this?
I don't know. Maybe, definitely it would involve including more and more people. It definitely involves doing more conversations like this, inviting more people.
Right. And you have more knowledge of Indians. I know Indians, not getting any response from them. But
Yeah,
see, someone like you can help bring that about.
yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with that, Carla.
So we're talking about agreement now. How are we going to change it? And I did not expect to get to this point today, but
I
I'm
know.
so glad we did.
I got that, Carla. I got that. Yeah. I mean, I'll probably be, I'll be on the next one, and then we'll take it from there, and we'll have a conversation in the next meetup. Okay. When's
Okay.
the next one?
Actually, it'll be this coming Sunday.
Right. I'll be there.
And it is at 7:30 p.m. your time
Got it. I'll be there.
and 10 a.m. I'm even getting up early to do this.
I got it, Carla. I'll be there at 8:30 p.m. on Sunday evening.
So you're excited about your trip to India. Do you have any final words you want to leave our audience with?
Um, Trust yourself, trust your experience. Don't go by what others tell you. Find out for yourself. Explore the world yourself. Because I've had some very pleasant surprises. If I had gone by the advice given to me by other people, I would have never discovered the wonderful people of Pakistan.
And I wouldn't know you if you hadn't made that decision.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Thank you. Thank you for that.
That's how all of this works.
Yes,
One conversation at a time.
one conversation at a time. Exactly. Thank you.
So darn, it's such a blessing.
Yes.
And people are missing out on the blessing. And
Yeah.
that in itself is so very very sad. What do you think?
Yeah, I sometimes I really think of, how lucky I am. Of, I discovered this, and like a significant part of my life, I would have just lived like this. I wouldn't have, broken this barrier for myself. So I'm really lucky to have done that. Thank you.
And that is the blessing that we have all been given.
Yeah.
That's the blessing of the internet.
Exactly. To discover love where I have been taught hate.
But
To
it's
discover
not
fraternity where I have been told there's an enemy.
and the point is, every individual in life has been taught this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's now time to turn it around.
Yes.
I love these conversations with people because we don't realize how much we are alike
Yeah.
until we have spoken.
Yes, absolutely. Totally, Carla.
I want to thank you. I know that you haven't been feeling well. You told me you were getting sleepy, but you wanted to go ahead and do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to thank you for spending the time with
My
me.
privilege.
today.
My privilege, Carla.
And I want to thank those who watch or will watch on replay, and the Institute of Peace for sponsoring this show. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Wave goodbye.
Bye. Good night.
Don't go anywhere yet, Samir.
All right.